Why are you blushing? Maya asked, leaning over my desk so suddenly that my hand slipped off the mouse. I stared at her, certain my face had betrayed every secret I had spent 6 months hiding. Then she smiled and whispered, "Is it because of me?" I wish I could say I had a clever answer. Instead, I knocked over my coffee. Before we begin, if you enjoy emotional and inspiring stories like this, make sure to support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories of kindness, hope, and humanity. 6 months earlier, Maya had arrived at our office carrying a cardboard box, a cracked phone, and the kind of nervous smile people wear when they are pretending not to be afraid. She joined our design team on a rainy Monday morning and immediately apologized for taking the chair beside me. I told her it was fine. She laughed and said, "Good. I was worried you might be the scary one." I wasn't. At least, I didn't think I was. Her desk stayed beside mine after that. She hummed when concentrating, tapped her pen against her notebook when thinking, and always stole the blue sticky notes because she claimed yellow made her ideas look too serious. I noticed everything. I pretended I noticed nothing. My coworkers noticed differently. "You like her," my friend Daniel said one afternoon. "I respect her professionally." "You've been staring at the same spreadsheet for 10 minutes. "I'm analyzing." "You're blushing." I nearly threw a stapler at him. The problem was, I had a reason for keeping my feelings quiet. 2 years earlier, I had confessed to someone at work. She laughed, told half the office, and for months I became the subject of jokes. I promised myself I would never mix my heart with my career again. Then Maya happened. She wasn't loud. She didn't demand attention. She remembered when people had difficult days. When our receptionist's mother was sick, Maya quietly organized a meal schedule. When an intern made a mistake, she stayed late to help him fix it instead of blaming him. She made kindness look ordinary. And somehow, that made me fall harder. One Thursday evening, our manager announced that the company had lost an important client. Everyone would have to work late for a week to prepare a major presentation. The room went silent. Maya glanced at me. "You surviving? Ask me after midnight." She smiled. "Then I'll bring coffee." She did. Every night, around 9, a cup appeared beside my keyboard. Sometimes there was a tiny note, "Don't forget to breathe." Once, it said, "You've been staring at that slide like it personally offended you." I saved every note. On Friday, I discovered Maya crying in the stairwell. I stopped halfway down the stairs. She quickly wiped her face. "You didn't see anything," she said. "I saw enough." She sighed. Her father had been hospitalized, and she had been trying to keep working because she was afraid of losing the job. Her voice cracked when she said, "I don't know how to be strong all the time." I sat beside her. "You don't have to be." For several minutes, neither of us spoke. Then she rested her head against my shoulder. That small moment changed everything. After that, we became closer, but neither of us said what we were thinking. We talked during lunch, shared jokes, and sometimes walked to the train station together. Still, I kept one careful distance between us. Until the day of the presentation. The conference room was packed. Executives sat at one end, our team at the other. Maya stood beside the screen, confident and calm. I watched her explain our campaign, answering every difficult question without losing her smile. Then the projector failed. Everyone froze. Maya looked at me. I remembered the backup file on my laptop. I connected it, fixed the presentation, and gave her the signal. She continued. We finished successfully. Back at our desks, the team celebrated. Maya walked straight toward me. "You saved me," she said. "You saved the presentation." She shook her head. "No. You saved me." Her eyes lingered on mine. For one dangerous second, I thought she might say something. Instead, she walked away. That night, I found an envelope on my desk. Inside was one of her blue sticky notes. Tomorrow. 10 minutes. My desk. No excuses. I barely slept. The next morning, I arrived early. Maya wasn't there. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Finally, she appeared, holding a folder. I need to tell you something. My stomach tightened. She placed the folder on my desk. It was a job offer from another company. I got this last week, she said. Better salary. Better position. Different city. I tried to smile. That's great. She studied my face. You don't mean that. I do. No, you don't. I looked away. She whispered, why are you always so careful with me? Because I loved her. But I couldn't say it. So I said, because you're important to me. Her expression softened. That's exactly what I'm afraid of. Before I could ask what she meant, our manager called her into a meeting. The day disappeared. At 5, she left without saying goodbye. For the next 3 days, she barely spoke to me. On Monday morning, I found her packing the blue sticky notes into a box. You're leaving, I said. She nodded. Friday. I felt something collapse inside me. I hope you'll be happy. She looked at me for a long moment. Are you really going to let me leave without telling me? Tell you what? That you care. I do care. No. Not like a coworker. My heart hammered. She stepped closer. I've been waiting 6 months. I couldn't breathe. Waiting for what? For you to stop being afraid. She smiled sadly. I knew about the jokes. I knew what happened before I arrived. Daniel told me. I closed my eyes. So you knew? Yes. Then why didn't you say anything? Because I wanted to know whether you liked me because I was kind to you, or because you actually saw me. I opened my eyes. I see you. Her eyes filled with tears. I see the way you pretend you're not tired. I see how you check on everyone before yourself. I see how you leave your desk light on when someone works late because you don't want them walking through a dark office alone. She laughed softly. And I see how red your ears get whenever I stand too close. I laughed despite myself. So that's what this is? Maybe. She leaned over my desk. Why are you blushing? This time, I didn't look away. Because I love you. The office seemed to disappear. Maya's smile trembled. Say that again. I love you. She reached for my hand. I love you too. But the story didn't end there. She still had to decide whether to take the job. That evening, we walked to the station together. She told me the new position had always been her dream, but she was terrified that leaving meant losing everything she had built. I told her something I had learned the hard way. Don't stay somewhere just because you're afraid of leaving. She looked at me. Even if it means leaving you. Especially then. She squeezed my hand. I don't want love to become another reason I make myself smaller. Then don't let it. She left that Friday. For 3 months, we were separated by hundreds of miles. We called after work, sent ridiculous pictures, argued about movies, and learned that love wasn't always about being physically close. Sometimes it was about giving someone room to become who they were meant to be. The following weeks tested what they had built. Distance exposed small habits they had never noticed before. Maya called while walking home, and he could recognize her mood by the speed of her footsteps. When she was excited, she spoke too quickly. When something hurt, she became unusually quiet. He learned to wait through the silence instead of filling it with advice. One evening, she called after a terrible day. Her presentation had been criticized, and a senior colleague had suggested that she had earned her position because people liked her, not because she was talented. She tried to laugh it off, but her voice shook. You don't have to convince me you're good enough, he said. I know. No, you don't. That's why I'm saying it. She went quiet. Then she asked, what if I'm not? Then tomorrow you learn. But tonight, you get to be disappointed. She laughed through a tear. That's a very strange kind of comfort. It's the only kind I know. Another week, he had a difficult day himself. A project he had spent months building was cancelled without warning. He stared at his empty screen long after everyone had gone home. His phone buzzed. Maya had sent a picture of 2 cups of coffee. Underneath it, she wrote, "One for you. One for the version of you that thinks failure means the end." He smiled. He kept the picture. Their relationship grew quietly, without grand promises. They learned each other's fears, celebrated tiny victories, and became the person the other could call without preparing an explanation. When Maya eventually returned, they didn't rush anything. Their first official date was almost embarrassingly ordinary: sandwiches, a long walk, and an argument about whether old movies were better than new ones. At the end of the evening, she stopped beneath a street lamp. "Are you still afraid?" she asked. "Sometimes." "Of me?" "No. Of losing something that matters." She took his hand. "Then don't waste today worrying about tomorrow." He looked at her and realized that was the lesson he had been avoiding all along. Love wasn't a guarantee that nothing would hurt. It was the courage to value something while knowing life could change it. Maya smiled. Still blushing. "Always." "Good," she said. "I'd hate to think I lost my effect." And for once, he didn't care who saw him smile. He squeezed her hand, grateful that fear had not won. Some moments disappear with time, others become the quiet beginning of everything you hoped for that night. Then, on a cold Saturday morning, I walked into a cafe near my apartment. Maya was sitting by the window. I stopped. She stood. "I got promoted," she said. I smiled. "Congratulations." And I transferred back. My smile disappeared. "You did?" She nodded. "Not for you." I laughed. "Good. For me," she said. "But I was hoping you'd be here." I walked toward her. She held out a blue sticky note. I opened it. "Don't forget to breathe." I laughed, and she hugged me. Years later, we would still argue about whether she had planned that first question at my desk. She insisted she had. I insisted she was just teasing me. Neither of us ever admitted who fell first. But I remembered what mattered. Sometimes the person who changes your life doesn't arrive dramatically. Sometimes they simply sit beside you, remember your difficult days, leave coffee on your desk, and make kindness feel like home. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is stop hiding behind fear and tell someone the truth. If this story touched your heart, share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever cared about someone but been too afraid to say it? And if you've ever experienced a moment when kindness turned into something unforgettable, we'd love to hear your story. If you enjoyed this journey of kindness, hope, courage, compassion, and humanity, like this video and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories. Because sometimes, love doesn't begin with a grand confession. Sometimes, it begins with a cup of coffee, a blue sticky note, and one simple question: why are you blushing?